kids, welcome to our new weekly slot, SPJ Kids Online. Each week we're going to have something different. We're going to have puppets, we're going to have songs, we're going to have memory verses, and we're going to learn something new from the Bible each week. So, I hope you enjoy, and we're going to have some fun doing this together. Do you know what the first book of the Bible is? The very first book? Well, it's called Genesis. And there's so much in Genesis. I love the book of Genesis. There's so many stories, so many people. But Genesis, being the very first book, starts with God and starts with how God created everything. So, I thought we'd have an action for the start of everything. God starts everything. He creates the world and everything. So we can have an action like this. So do this with me together. Put your hands together like that, and we make like a world, like a planet. Okay? So we say Genesis together. Do this with me together. So hands together, and we'll go Genesis. And Genesis is the first book of the Bible. Okay, so our memory verse for today is Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, the very beginning. And it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." I'll say that again. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. See if you can remember that one. Now we're going to have a song from Doug Hawley, all about God's creation, God's wonderful creation. And Doug Hawley calls it Lovely Jubbly. So let's watch this song, Lovely Jubbly, and see if you can sing along with some of the words, especially the animal noises partway through.
He gave the mouse its squeak, sharks their teeth, he made legs that jump, gave camels the hump, he made the kangaroo and humans too. He even gave his lips so good for kissing. He made fish that fly, eyes that cry, he made birds that poo upon your shoe. He made whales that sing, bees that sting, he even gave the cat its furry bottom. And his lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. What a wonderful God we have. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. He made it all, he made it all, he made it all. He made dogs that point, pigs that oink. He made dolphins smiles, crocodiles. He made a zillion things, fly with wings. He even gave his tongue so good for licking. He made things that scoot, things that hoot. He made some things smell not so well. He made wind to blow, clouds to snow. He even made your knees that are so nobly. And his lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. What a wonderful God we have. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. He made it all, he made it all, he made it all. Okay, now it's over to you. Whatever creature I name, you make a noise for it. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. He made pigs that. He made lions that. He made sheep that. He made cows that. He made frogs that. He made skunks that. Oh, I didn't try this one. He made camels that. He made snails that... Snails don't make a lot of noise unless you accidentally squish them under your toes. Please don't do that. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. What a wonderful God we have. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. Lovely jubbly, all of God's creation. He made it all, he made it all, he made it all. He made it all, he made it all, he made it all. He made it all, made it all, made it all.
So, kids, I'd like to introduce you today to somebody new. He's a very good friend of mine. His name is Rocco, and he's a reporter. So, let's go across and say hi to Rocco. Are you ready? Hello, Rocco. Hello, Mr. G. He calls me Mr. G. Now, Rocco, you're an interviewer, a reporter. Is that correct? Yes, that's my job. And I like talking to people. Great! So, tell us, who are you interviewing today? I'm interviewing Sean the sheep. Sean the sheep? Yes, he's been around for hundreds, no, thousands of years. So he knows a lot, and he's met loads of people, including many people from the Bible. Wow, that sounds amazing. Okay, over to you. And we'll speak later. Hi everybody, my name is Rocco. I'm a reporter, and today I am having a chat with Sean the sheep. Sean has been around for a very long time and knows a lot about people from the Bible. So, let's have a chat with him and see what he can tell us. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you, it's good to be here.
So, Sean, tell us about some of the people you know from the Bible, especially from the very early times and the book of Genesis.
Well, I guess the first person to tell you about is God.
God himself?
The very same. You know, he created everything. The earth and sky, the land and sea, plants and trees, sun, moon, and stars, all the fish and the birds, the animals, including me, and then humans.
Humans too?
Yes, the first man was called Adam. He was a very nice man. He gave me my name as well, you know.
What? Sean?
No, silly, sheep. Then God made him a helper, a woman he called Eve. She was beautiful, and they were very happy together.
Great. So, all was good.
Well, yes, it was, until Adam and Eve did something wrong, something that God had told them not to do.
Oh dear. So what happened then?
Well, God threw them out of the garden where they were living, the beautiful Garden of Eden.
That's sad.
Yes, and things started going really wrong from that moment too. Murder, stealing, lots of bad things. And perhaps the worst thing was that people forgot about God and were ignoring him.
Oh no. So then what?
Well, God was patient for many years, but then he got so fed up and sad that he decided to destroy everything he had. So he sent a great flood to cover the whole earth.
So everything was wiped out?
Well, almost. God saw that there was one good man. His name was Noah.
So you knew Noah?
Oh yes, God commanded Noah to make a big boat and collect 2 of every animal and bird. That's when I met Noah, because he took me and Sky into the boat.
Sky? Who's Sky?
she was my wife. I called her Sky because she had beautiful big blue eyes, and she looked so like a fluffy white cloud. Anyway, we were saved from the flood because Noah was a good man, and he did what God had commanded.
Okay, good story. So, who else did you meet in Genesis?
Well, then there was this guy called Abraham. He, like Noah, was a man who believed and trusted in God. God told him to travel and live in a different country. We were living in a place called Ur.
Sounds like a horrible place.
No, it wasn't that bad. But Abraham did what God told him to do. So we left. And Abraham took everything that he owned, including all of his cattle and sheep, me included.
Ah,
God also promised Abraham that he would have so many people in his family that they could not be counted, just like the stars in the sky. And more, a promise that one day a Savior would welcome from his family.
yes, and we know that that Saviour was Jesus Christ, who was born about 2,000 years later.
Hey, you're good.
Wow, I'm a reporter. It's my job to know. So, anyone else in Genesis we should know about?
Yes, then came Isaac, the longed-for son of Abraham. His name means laughter, ha ha ha, because Abraham's wife, Sarah, laughed when God told her she was going to have a son in her old age. When he grew up, Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Jacob was a bit selfish, but God changed him. One night, Jacob got into a wrestling match.
What? WWE?
No. Much worse than that. Jacob was wrestling with God, and he wouldn't let go until God blessed him. That's when God gave him a new name, Israel, and his hip, well, went a bit funny.
So, did Jacob have any family?
Oh yes, Jacob had 12 sons. The most famous one, of course, was called Joseph.
Ah, yes. I've heard of Joseph and the amazing technicolor dream coat.
Well, it was a multicolored coat, and he was a dreamer. This got him into trouble with his brothers, who wanted to kill him. They grabbed him while he was looking after me, and they threw him into a pit. Then they sold him as a slave, and he ended up in Egypt. Lots of bad things happened to him there, but he still trusted in God, and eventually God made him the number 2 person in charge of the whole country. This was God's plan, because there was a great famine in the land, very little food, and with God's help, Joseph managed to save many, many people, including his own family and brothers.
So, who came next in Genesis?
Well, that's it really. Joseph forgave all of his brothers and brought his whole family to live in Egypt, and he died at the age of 110. And that is where Genesis ends.
Well, thank you, Sean, for joining us and telling us all about some of the important people in Genesis. I'm sure we will hear more about them in the future. Next week, we will see who we can find in the second book of the Bible. Back to you, Mr. G. Well, I hope you enjoyed our first SPJ Kids Online and can remember Genesis. Tune in next week where we'll hear about the second book of the Bible and we'll keep going and having some fun together. Have a great week until we see you next time. Bye.